3x3 is notorious for its difficult barriers, such as sub 20, sub 15, sub 10, or even sub 9. I can almost guarantee that you've had trouble passing a barrier at least once. When you hit one of these barriers, the most common thought that people have is, what can I do to get past this barrier? Sometimes the answer isn't very clear though. That's why YouTube cubers, including myself, constantly get comments asking how to get sub 20 or sub 15 or sub 10. When people ask me these questions, I can only give vague answers like learn look ahead or work on your F2L. But there is a much better way that you can figure out exactly what you need to work on, and that's what I'm going to teach you today. To do this, you will need footage of a solve you did and a way to slow that footage down. To give a perfect example of how these things can help, I will be using my 9.68 3x3 single on camera as an example. Why aren't you using your 9.38, you might be asking? You will see why in a minute. Let's just watch the solve at regular speed first.
Yes!
Let's rewind that real quick. Before we see it again, here's a good question. If I got a 30-second solver to look at this at 25% speed and asked him to write down any mistakes that he saw, how many do you think he would find? They would probably see the U prime right here before I did PLL. And if they were very observant, they could find a second, which is the bad F2L solution that I had right here with the blue and red pair. So after seeing that, they would probably tell me to work on F2L efficiency and PLL recognition. That solve was good, but would it be perfect if those mistakes weren't there? Absolutely not. Let's see what I can find. First, I did a U2 without doing a double flick. Then I did the blue and red pair instead of the much easier green and orange pair, and I had a bad solution to the blue and red pair. Right after that, I didn't insert the green and orange pair with the sledgehammer, which would have given me a cross OLL. And then I did the U prime before doing my U perm for PLL. So that's 5 mistakes instead of 2. Now I know a lot more things to work on. F2L finger tricks, F2L pair choice, edge control, F2L efficiency, and PLL recognition. Well, how does this help then? It helps because before you were just guessing at what you need to work at, and asking other people doesn't help because they're not you. Now, by looking at your solves, you know exactly what you need to work on. You can do this with any solve that you did, no matter how slow or fast it is, because like I said, no solve is perfect, and there's always something you need to improve on. Some people are going to say that they can't find anything that they need to improve on. This means that you're either looking at a solve that's too old, that you have improved too much since you did, or you're not looking for the specific details that are really going to show you what you need to improve on. You need to be strict with yourself because that's how you improve. Now let's see what I can find with an older solve, which is more similar in speed to people that aren't sub 20 or just got there. The problems in this solve have all been mostly or completely fixed since I did it, but the concept is the same. This is a 2173 from an old average of 12. Now I'll go through again and find the mistakes. Right away you can see that I didn't plan out the entire cross in my inspection, which leads to a bunch more pauses than I should have. Then I had a very inefficient solution to my first F2L pair, which had two U2s, neither of which had double flicks. After that, I clearly didn't know what to do, which wasted time. Then I did a U4 to recognize my next case. Speaking of that next case, I had a very bad solution which had two rotations and a U'. My last pair had a good solution, but it had two U2 moves and neither of them had double flicks. Then I missed an easy winter variation case, and I had a lockup on OLL. Right after OLL, I did a rotation without even looking at the PLL case, and I didn't recognize the AUF of the PLL. That adds up to a total of 14 mistakes. You can tell by that number that doing this can be very discouraging, but it is also extremely helpful in improving. Using those mistakes as evidence, I can say that back then I needed to work on planning out cross, doing double flick U2 moves in F2L, F2L efficiency, not doing cube rotations to find pieces, and executing OLL better. Once you know what you need to work on, the only way to improve is practicing those things, which is easy now because you know what you need to work on. Once you know what you need to work on, improving just comes down to practicing over and over again, because trying and practicing repeatedly is the only way to succeed. Remember, Felix didn't become the 3x3 world champion overnight. He worked at it, and his solves still aren't perfect, so he's still improving. If you know what to work on, sub 20, sub 15, or even sub 10 can be easy. In conclusion, remember that you need to be strict and almost harsh when it comes to identifying mistakes, because that's how you learn to solve better. There's no such thing as a perfect solve, but that fact allows people like Felix and Mats, and now you, to keep improving, because there's always something new that needs to be improved on. So thank you for watching this video. I haven't worked this hard on a single video in a very, very long time. So if you enjoyed it, like the video and subscribe to my channel, because it shows me that this was all worthwhile. If you want to see some other videos that inspired me to make this, click some of the links in the description or even in the outro. I will see you guys later.
Yes!